Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to kind of dig into something that I think pretty much everyone listening can relate to. And that's this whole dance we do, trying to balance our work lives with our family lives.
Yes, absolutely. It's something that affects everyone, and it's certainly something that the folks in our source material today had to deal with as well.
Yeah, and it's extra interesting about the stories we're diving into today is that they're all tied to the experience of learning English too. Like it's almost this double whammy of life challenges,
Yeah.
trying to find that balance and trying to learn a new language.
It's a fascinating intersection, isn't it? The ways in which these two journeys, balancing life's demands and acquiring a new language, intertwine and inform each other.
Exactly. So we're pulling these stories from, a YouTube channel that's actually dedicated to English listening and writing skills. So you can already see how these themes are starting to connect, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. The channel serves as a platform for individuals to enhance their language skills. And within that context, these personal stories emerge, offering a window into the lives of these learners as they grapple with the universal challenge of work-life balance.
Okay, so our mission today is to really pick apart these stories and see what we can learn from them. Not just about, time management and all that,
Yeah.
but also about how language learning is woven into these super relatable everyday moments.
It's about extracting those nuggets of wisdom, those practical strategies that we can each apply to our own lives. And what's particularly intriguing is to observe how the very act of learning a new language, with its inherent challenges and triumphs, becomes integrated into these individuals' broader life experiences.
Right. Okay, so let's start with John. John's a software engineer, and like a lot of people these days, he made the switch to working from home.
Initially, that likely appeared as an incredibly appealing prospect. The elimination of the daily commute, the increased flexibility, the ability to structure one's workday around personal needs, all very attractive features of remote work.
Totally. But as John quickly found out, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine. Having those boundaries between work and family life kind of blurred.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can get pretty tricky.
Precisely. What often emerges with remote work is a dismantling of the physical and psychological separation that a traditional office setting provided. Suddenly, the demands of one's professional life and the needs of one's family are competing for attention within the same physical space, and it's within this context that we encountered John's specific experience with his son, Liam.
Right, and that's where things get real for John. He's got this situation where his son Liam needs help with a school project, and it's like smack dab in the middle of John's workday. Like, what do you do, right?
Right. It's a moment of reckoning, isn't it? A stark illustration of the practical challenges inherent in blending work and family life when both are vying for attention within the same environment. The boundaries that once felt so clearly delineated become permeable, and navigating those demands effectively becomes a crucial skill.
Totally. And that's when John has this light bulb moment.
Yeah.
He realizes that to make this work from home thing actually, work, he needs to get serious about time management. It's not just about being at home. It's about consciously carving out time for everything.
It's a shift from a passive approach to an active one. John recognizes that to successfully navigate the demands of both his professional and family life within the same space, he needs to deliberately structure his time. This involves more than simply being physically present. It's about being mentally present as well.
Right. So John starts doing this thing where he blocks out specific times for work stuff, kind of like how he'd be at the office, focused and all that. But then here's the key. He also schedules dedicated time for his family, not just being around them, but actually engaging with them.
Precisely. The detail about John ensuring he spends quality time with his wife, Sarah, and their children each afternoon speaks volumes about his commitment to creating a harmonious balance. It's about carving out those precious moments where he can fully engage with his family, being mentally and emotionally present, rather than simply physically present while his mind is still preoccupied with work.
So this is a big takeaway for everyone listening, right? How do you juggle all the things that demand your time? Do you relate to John's experience? And maybe more importantly, are there things you could try to do differently, based on how he handled it?
It's a call to action for all of us, isn't it? To pause and reflect on the effectiveness of our own daily routines and the ways in which we manage our time and energy. Are we simply reacting to the demands placed upon us, or are we consciously structuring our time to ensure that we are dedicating our energy to the people and activities that truly matter most?
It's food for thought, for sure. Okay, so next up, we've got Emily. She's a nurse, And as you can imagine, her job comes with some pretty demanding schedules. And to make things even tougher, she often works those overnight shifts, the ones that really mess with your sleep.
The nature of Emily's profession inherently entails irregular work hours, and those night shifts, in particular, can place a significant strain on one's personal life. The disruption to sleep patterns, the challenges of maintaining a consistent social life, the sheer physical and emotional demands, it's a lot to navigate.
No kidding. But here's the thing that really stands out about Emily's story. The incredible support system she has in her husband, Mark. He steps up big time and takes care of their daughter while Emily's working those tough shifts.
Yeah. It's a beautiful testament to the power of teamwork, isn't it? Emily's ability to excel in her demanding profession is directly enabled by the unwavering support and active participation of her husband. It's a partnership that functions seamlessly, allowing both Emily and Mark to fulfill their respective roles and responsibilities effectively.
It's a real team effort. And it really makes you think, right, achieving balance isn't always a solo mission. Sometimes it takes a village,
Precisely. The notion of it takes a village is remarkably relevant in this context. Emily's experience beautifully illustrates that sometimes achieving a sense of equilibrium in our lives requires the strength and collaboration of those within our personal networks.
So think about your own life for a second. Who are those people in your corner? Those who help you keep things from completely falling apart?
Yeah.
Who's part of your support system? That team that helps you shoulder the load?
It's a valuable exercise, isn't it? To consciously acknowledge and appreciate those individuals who play a significant role in our ability to navigate life's complexities. Whether it's family, friends, colleagues, or mentors, recognizing those who contribute to our sense of balance and well-being is an act of gratitude and awareness.
Absolutely. All right, next up we've got David. He's a teacher, and his story is going to hit home for anyone who's ever felt completely wiped out after a long day. You know that feeling, right? You just want to crash on the couch and forget about everything.
It's that universal experience of exhaustion, isn't it? The depletion of energy, both physical and mental, that follows a demanding day, leaving one with a yearning for rest and reprieve.
Totally. And David was right there, ready to skip his evening run. Like, who wouldn't be tempted, right? But then there's this internal struggle. He remembers how good those runs make him feel, like the long-term benefits for his mind and body.
It's a fascinating internal dialogue, isn't it? That push and pull between the immediate allure of rest and the recognition of the longer-term benefits of engaging in activities that contribute to our overall well-being. David's internal debate exemplifies the complexities we often grapple with when trying to prioritize self-care amidst life's demands.
Right, and guess what? He goes for the run. Even though he's tired, he pushes himself, and the result is kind of amazing. It's like that little bit of exercise actually energized him.
Yeah.
He comes back feeling refreshed, mentally clearer, and totally ready to hang out with his wife, Lisa, and their dog, Max.
It's a remarkable outcome, isn't it? The notion that engaging in physical activity, even when one feels utterly depleted, can actually lead to a resurgence of energy and an enhanced sense of well-being. It's a reminder that sometimes pushing past our immediate desire for comfort can yield surprisingly positive results.
You know what's cool about David's story? It's like a perfect parallel to learning English. Just like he found the time and energy to squeeze in that run, we can all find those little pockets of time to practice our English, right?
Precisely. The parallel is quite compelling, isn't it? Just as David made the conscious decision to prioritize a brief period of exercise, even amidst feelings of exhaustion, we too can incorporate small, consistent pockets of English practice into our daily routines. It doesn't necessitate lengthy, intensive study sessions. Rather, it's about recognizing that even short bursts of focused effort, when sustained over time, can yield significant progress.
It's all about consistency, right? Little steps, day by day, and eventually look back and see how far you've come. So for everyone listening, where are those little moments in your day where you could slip in some English practice? Maybe on your commute or while you're making dinner,
It's about cultivating an awareness of those seemingly insignificant pockets of time that we often let slip by unnoticed or underutilized. David's experience challenges us to examine our daily habits and consider how we might repurpose even small increments of time for activities that contribute to our personal growth, whether it's physical fitness or language acquisition.
Okay, let's move on to Rachel. She's a young professional, just starting out in her career, and like anyone in a new job, she's feeling the pressure to impress. It can be pretty overwhelming.
The desire to excel in a new role, to demonstrate one's capabilities and make a positive impression, is a common and understandable experience. particularly in the early stages of a career when one is navigating unfamiliar territory and establishing oneself within a new professional environment. The pressure to perform can feel quite intense.
And it was definitely getting to Rachel. She was feeling totally swamped, like drowning in all the new responsibilities and expectations. But then she has this conversation with her husband, Tom, and he gives her some seriously simple yet wise advice.
Sometimes, amidst the complexities of life, the most effective solutions are the simplest ones. Tom's suggestion to Rachel to step away from her work and take a walk in the park might seem almost too elementary, yet it's a testament to the power of disengaging from the immediate source of stress and allowing oneself a mental reset.
Yeah, it was like a breath of fresh air, literally.
Yeah.
Getting out of the office, being in nature, just having that time to talk things through with Tom, it really helped clear her head and allowed her to come back to her work with like a fresh perspective.
It highlights the importance of consciously creating space for mental and emotional restoration. That change of environment, the physical movement, the opportunity to connect with a supportive loved one, all of these elements contributed to a shift in Rachel's mental state, enabling her to return to her work with renewed focus and a greater sense of clarity.
And you know what's interesting about Rachel's experience? It has this like really cool connection to learning English. It's the idea that sometimes when you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, the best thing you could do is take a break. Walk away, come back later, and you might be surprised at how much clearer things seem.
Precisely. The parallel to the language learning journey is quite profound. When we encounter a difficult grammar concept or we're struggling to recall a specific vocabulary word, sometimes the most effective strategy is to step away from the immediate source of frustration and allow our minds to process the information subconsciously. Often, upon returning to the task later, we find that our understanding has deepened or the elusive word has suddenly resurfaced.
So think about it, everyone. When was the last time you allowed yourself a break when things felt overwhelming, either at work or in your English studies? It's easy to get caught up in the mentality of pushing through, but sometimes stepping back is the smartest move you can make.
It's about challenging that ingrained notion that productivity is solely about continuous effort. Rachel's experience and its application to language learning reminds us that strategic disengagement, allowing ourselves periods of rest and mental rejuvenation, can be just as important as the periods of focused work and study.
It's so true. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Mark. He's an engineer, and it's clear that he's super passionate about his work. But all that dedication came at a cost. He was missing out on precious time with his daughter, Emma.
It's a common struggle, isn't it? The demands of our professional lives can often encroach upon our personal time, particularly when we are driven and passionate about our work. Finding a sustainable balance, one that allows us to both excel in our careers and nurture our relationships, is a constant negotiation.
Totally. And in Mark's case, he realized he needed to make a change, so he did something pretty cool. He decided to set aside specific time every weekend, like a few hours, where work was totally off limits. This was dedicated time for Emma.
It's a testament to his commitment to his family, isn't it? The deliberate act of carving out those sacred hours each weekend, where work responsibilities are intentionally put aside to create space for quality time with his daughter. It's not simply about being physically present, it's about being fully present, mentally and emotionally engaged with Emma.
Exactly. And the example they gave was so sweet. They baked cookies together. You know, that simple act of mixing ingredients, laughing, just enjoying the process of creating something together.
Yeah.
And it made such a difference in their relationship.
It's a beautiful reminder that the most meaningful moments often lie in the simplest of activities. The shared experience of baking cookies becomes a vehicle for connection, for laughter, for creating memories. It's a testament to the power of presence and intentionality in nurturing relationships.
It's a good reminder for all of us, isn't it? We don't always need grand gestures or elaborate plans to connect with our loved ones. Sometimes it's those small, everyday moments, shared with love and presence, that create the most lasting and cherished memories.
Precisely. Mark's experience invites us to reflect on our own lives and consider how we might incorporate more of those simple, yet profoundly meaningful moments into our interactions with those we care about. What are those activities that bring us joy and connection? How can we weave more of them into the fabric of our daily lives?
It's a beautiful thing to think about. Okay, let's move on to Peter. He's an accountant, and his story is one that's going to resonate with anyone who's ever felt the pull of work bleeding into family time. You know that feeling, right? When you're trying to have dinner with your family, but your mind's still back at the office.
The struggle to compartmentalize, to create clear boundaries between our professional and personal lives, is a challenge many of us face, particularly in today's hyper-connected world. The allure of constant accessibility, the pressure to be perpetually on, can make it difficult to truly disconnect and be fully present in our personal lives.
And for Peter, it was a real issue. He was working late a lot, missing out on time with his young daughter, Sophie. And there's this one specific instance that really hit him hard. Sophie wanted a bedtime story, but Peter was still buried in work. It was like a wake-up call for him.
It's a poignant moment, isn't it? The image of a young child yearning for connection with their parent, juxtaposed against the demands of a demanding job, serves as a stark reminder of the potential costs of an imbalanced life. It's in moments like these that we are often forced to confront our priorities and make conscious decisions about how we structure our time.
Totally. And to his credit, Peter didn't just shrug it off. He decided to actually do something about it. He created this whole time management plan, like really got organized. He set specific work hours, used to-do lists, and made a rule no work after dinner, period.
It's a testament to his commitment to creating a more sustainable and balanced life, isn't it? Not simply acknowledging the problem, but taking concrete steps to address it. The implementation of a structured time management plan with clear boundaries and designated periods for both work and family demonstrates a proactive approach to reclaiming control of his time and energy.
And you know what? It totally worked. Peter actually found that by being more disciplined with his work time, he was more productive. He got more done during his work hours, which meant he could actually finish work on time and be fully present for Sophie and his wife, Claire, in the evenings.
It's a remarkable outcome, isn't it? A demonstration that sometimes setting boundaries and creating structure can actually lead to increased efficiency and productivity. By consciously delineating time for both work and personal life, Peter was able to optimize both, creating more harmonious and fulfilling balance.
It's a reminder that time management isn't just about squeezing in more work. It's about creating space for the things that truly matter. So think about your own life for a second. How's your time management? Could you benefit from some of Peter's techniques?
It's an invitation to critically examine our own daily routines and assess whether they truly align with our core priorities. Are we allocating our time and energy in a way that supports both our professional goals and our personal well-being? Peter's experience encourages us to consider the potential benefits of intentional planning and the establishment of clear boundaries.
It's something to think about, that's for sure. Okay, now let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the challenges people faced specifically with learning English. Like with Laura, for example, she was super nervous about speaking English, terrified of making mistakes. I bet a lot of people listening can relate to that, right?
The fear of making mistakes, particularly when speaking a new language in front of others, is a common and understandable hurdle for many learners. It's often rooted in a sense of vulnerability, a fear of judgment, a concern about appearing incompetent. Yet, it's crucial to recognize that making mistakes is an inherent and necessary part of the learning process.
Absolutely. And Laura had this experience that really changed her perspective. She accidentally used the wrong word when talking to her colleague, Tom. But instead of making her feel bad, Tom was super cool about it. He basically said, hey, everyone makes mistakes. Just keep trying and you'll learn. And that really resonated with Laura.
Tom's simple yet profound message, delivered with kindness and understanding, served as a powerful turning point for Laura. It shifted her focus away from the fear of making errors towards the importance of persistent effort and learning from those errors. It's a reminder that the path to fluency is paved with missteps, and it's through those missteps that we truly learn and grow.
It totally changed her mindset. Instead of seeing mistakes as failures, she started seeing them as opportunities to learn and improve. And that made a huge difference in her confidence. So if you're listening and you're struggling with the fear of making mistakes, remember Laura's story. Embrace those mistakes, learn from them, and don't let them hold you back.
It's about cultivating self-compassion and recognizing that mistakes are not indicators of inadequacy, but rather stepping stones on the path to proficiency. Encourage yourself to adopt this same perspective, to view errors as valuable feedback that guides your learning journey.
Wise words. Now let's talk about Sam. He's a chef, and he was having trouble understanding different English accents, especially when people spoke quickly. It can be so frustrating, right? Like you're trying so hard to follow along, but then you just get lost.
The diversity of accents within the English language can indeed pose a significant challenge for learners, particularly when encountering unfamiliar pronunciations and variations in intonation. When these accents are combined with a rapid pace of speech, it can feel overwhelming, leading to feelings of frustration and inadequacy.
And Sam was definitely feeling that way. But then something really interesting happened. He started working with this new waiter, David, who had a pretty strong accent. And at first, Sam was struggling to understand him. But then he realized something important. He didn't need to understand every single word to get the gist of what David was saying.
It's a crucial realization, isn't it? The understanding that perfect comprehension of every individual word uttered is not always essential for effective communication. Sam's shift in focus from trying to grasp every word to focusing on the overall meaning, the central idea being conveyed, marked a significant turning point in his listening comprehension.
Right. He was like, wait a minute, I can still understand the main point, even if I miss a few words here and there.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of the pressure off. So for everyone listening, here's a tip. When you're listening to English, try not to get hung up on every single word. Focus on understanding the overall message, and you'll be surprised at how much you actually pick up.
It's about training our ears to discern the essence of the message, the key ideas being communicated, rather than getting bogged down and trying to decipher every single word. This approach not only enhances our comprehension, but also alleviates feelings of frustration and inadequacy, allowing us to engage more confidently and enjoyably in spoken English interactions.
Great advice. Now we got another Mark, who works for an international company. And just like Sam, he faced the challenge of understanding different accents. But his approach was a little different. He basically just decided to keep listening, to pay attention, and let his ears adjust over time.
It's a testament to the power of consistent exposure and perseverance, isn't it? Recognizing that becoming accustomed to different accents is a process that requires patience and persistent effort. Mark's approach exemplifies a willingness to embrace the challenge, to trust in his ability to gradually adapt to the nuances of diverse English pronunciation.
And you know what? It worked. He slowly but surely got better at understanding all those different accents. So if you're out there and you're feeling frustrated with yourself because you can't understand everyone perfectly, just remember, Mark, give it time, keep practicing, and your ears will eventually adjust.
It's a reassuring message for anyone feeling discouraged by the diversity of English pronunciation. Mark's experience underscores the importance of patience and sustained exposure. Just as our eyes adjust to different lighting conditions, so too do our ears adjust to different auditory inputs. The key is to persevere, to trust in the gradual process of acclimatization.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's talk about something that applies to any kind of learning, really, and that's the importance of setting clear, achievable goals. This is especially important when you're learning English. It's like having a roadmap, you know. You know where you're going, and it helps you stay motivated.
The act of setting specific and achievable goals provides a framework for our learning journey, a sense of direction and purpose. It transforms the often daunting task of mastering a new language into a series of manageable steps, each one building upon the last, creating a sense of progress and accomplishment as we advance.
Totally. We've got some great examples from the folks in our source material. Like, some people set a goal to learn 10 new words every week. Others decide to listen to one English podcast every day. Little things like that, but they make a big difference.
The beauty of these examples lies in their simplicity and practicality. By breaking down the larger objective into smaller, more manageable goals, we reduce the feeling of overwhelm and create a sense of agency over our learning process. Each small goal achieved becomes a building block, a source of motivation and encouragement to continue forward.
You know, I actually did something similar when I was learning Spanish. I set a goal to listen to one short podcast episode every day, and honestly, it really helped. It wasn't a huge time commitment, but over time, it made a big difference in my listening comprehension. So if you're listening, think about what small, achievable goals you can set for yourself. What feels realistic and doable right now.
It's about identifying those actions that are within our immediate grasp, those steps that we can confidently incorporate into our daily routines without feeling overwhelmed. The key is consistency, making those small efforts a regular part of our lives, trusting that over time, those seemingly minor actions will accumulate into significant progress.
Okay, let's get back to the stories. Amina's story is next. She owns a small shop, and she needed to use English to talk to tourists. But she was really lacking confidence, you know, which is totally understandable. Speaking a new language in front of strangers can be super intimidating.
The fear of judgment, particularly when using a language one is not yet fully comfortable with, can be a significant barrier to communication. Amina's initial reluctance to engage with English-speaking customers is a relatable experience for many language learners, particularly those who find themselves in situations where they need to use the language in real-world contexts.
And she had this encounter with a couple from Canada who were looking for a non-stick pan. She ended up using a translation app to help them, which got the job done, but it also made her realize that she needed to step up her English game.
It's a moment of recognition, isn't it? The realization that while translation tools can be helpful in bridging communication gaps, they are not a substitute for developing one's own language skills. The encounter with the Canadian couple served as a catalyst for Amina to take proactive steps towards improving her English proficiency, recognizing the limitations of relying solely on technology for communication.
So she made this commitment to spend just 30 minutes every day listening to English and practicing speaking. She started with simple stuff, like easy podcasts and short videos. And guess what? It worked. Just 2 weeks later, she was able to confidently help a customer from Germany who was looking for a cutting board.
Amina's experience is a testament to the remarkable power of consistent effort, even in small increments. By dedicating just 30 minutes each day to engaging with the language, she was able to make noticeable progress in a relatively short period of time. It's a reminder that language acquisition doesn't require grand, sweeping gestures, but rather a commitment to consistent, manageable practice.
It's so encouraging, right? It shows that even a little bit of effort, done regularly, can make a big difference. So think about it. Could you find 30 minutes in your day to dedicate to English practice?
It's a challenge to ourselves, isn't it? To examine our daily routines and consider how we might carve out those small pockets of time for activities that contribute to our personal growth. Amina's story serves as a powerful reminder that even amidst busy lives, dedicating even a small amount of time consistently can yield significant results.
Okay, let's move on to Harun. He works for a delivery company, and he needed to write emails in English to communicate with customers. But he made a bit of a communication misstep in one of his first emails. It was a bit too direct, maybe a little blunt. It just highlighted the importance of being mindful of your tone and wording, especially in written communication.
The nuances of language, particularly in written form, can be challenging to navigate, especially when communicating across cultures and languages. Harun's initial email, while intended to be informative, inadvertently came across as abrupt and potentially disrespectful due to a lack of awareness of the subtle conventions of polite written communication in English.
Totally. And Harun realized that he needed to up his game. So he started actively learning common email phrases and really focusing on improving his grammar. He basically created a little toolbox of polite expressions and worked on structuring his sentences correctly.
It's a proactive and intelligent approach, isn't it? Recognizing a specific area for improvement and taking targeted action to address it. Harun's dedication to expanding his repertoire of polite phrases and honing his grammatical skills demonstrates a commitment to effective and professional communication in English.
And it paid off big time. His manager noticed the improvement in his emails, and Harun felt a lot more confident in his writing and his speaking too, because it all kind of goes hand in hand, right? So if you find yourself needing to write in English, whether for work or personal reasons, remember Harun's story. Learning those common phrases and structures can make a world of difference.
It's a valuable reminder that investing time and effort in refining our written communication skills, particularly in a language we are still learning, can lead to significant professional and personal benefits. As Harun discovered, the process of improving one's writing often has a positive ripple effect on other aspects of language use, such as speaking, as it strengthens our overall grasp of the language's structure and nuances.
All right, let's talk about Fatima. She's a teacher, and she wanted to improve her English for pretty much every aspect of her job, talking to students, writing reports, communicating with parents. And she came up with this really cool method to practice.
Fatima's approach exemplifies the ingenuity and adaptability that often characterize successful language learners. Faced with the need to enhance her English proficiency for a variety of professional purposes, she devised a method that was both practical and personally engaging, aligning her learning efforts with her daily life and professional demands.
So every day, she would write about her day in a notebook, just using simple English. And then she'd take it a step further and record voice messages, reading out what she had written. This allowed her to practice both her writing and her speaking skills in a really natural way.
It's a brilliant strategy, isn't it? The act of describing one's daily experiences, thoughts, and observations in a written form, and then vocalizing those written words, provides a holistic approach to language practice. It engages multiple skills, writing, reading aloud, and speaking in a context that is both personally relevant and readily accessible.
Now, what's even more inspiring is that Fatima didn't get hung up on making mistakes. She focused on just letting her language flow naturally, trusting that she would improve over time. And that's exactly what happened. Her students actually commented on how much smoother her English had become. So, for you listening, don't underestimate the power of describing your everyday life in English. It's a fantastic way to improve your writing and your speaking.
Fatima's story reinforces the idea that language learning doesn't always have to be a formal, structured process. Engaging with the language in a way that is personally meaningful, integrated into our daily routines, and free from the pressure of perfection can be a remarkably effective pathway to improvement and increased confidence.
Okay, let's talk about Yusuf. He's a technician who moved to a new city where most people spoke English. And he was really nervous about speaking English in meetings at work. You know, that feeling of being in a room full of people and being afraid to speak up because you're not confident in your language skills.
The experience of being a newcomer in a predominantly English-speaking environment can be daunting, particularly in professional settings where the pressure to communicate effectively is high. Yusuf's anxiety about participating in meetings is a common and understandable sentiment for individuals navigating a new linguistic landscape, often accompanied by feelings of self-consciousness and a fear of judgment.
And there was this one meeting where Yusuf really wanted to share his opinion, but he just couldn't bring himself to speak up. He was so frustrated with himself afterward. But then his colleague Michael gave him some great advice. He told Yusuf to just speak slowly and use simple words.
Michael's advice, while seemingly simple, is incredibly powerful in its practicality and reassurance. It's a reminder that effective communication doesn't always necessitate complex vocabulary or intricate sentence structures. Often, the most impactful communication is clear, concise, and delivered with confidence, even if the language used is relatively basic.
And you know what? Yusuf took Michael's advice to heart. Before the next meeting, he actually took the time to learn some common English phrases that are used in meetings. He practiced saying them out loud, and he even did some role-playing with a friend. And it made a huge difference. In the next meeting, he was able to confidently share his opinion.
Yusuf's proactive approach, his willingness to actively prepare and practice for the specific communication demands of a meeting setting, demonstrates a commitment to overcoming his language-based anxiety and effectively engaging in his professional environment. His success in articulating his thoughts clearly and confidently underscores the value of targeted and focused practice in building fluency and self-assurance.
It's a great example of how a little bit of preparation can go a long way. So if you find yourself in situations where you need to speak English, think about Yusuf's story. Take the time to learn some key phrases and practice them beforehand. It can really boost your confidence.
It's about empowering ourselves to navigate those situations that might initially feel intimidating or anxiety-provoking. Yusuf's experience serves as a reminder that by actively preparing and equipping ourselves with the language tools necessary for specific contexts, we can significantly reduce our anxiety and increase our likelihood of success in those interactions.
Okay, let's talk about Tariq. He's an office worker, and he was responsible for managing paperwork and dealing with clients. But he often felt stuck when trying to answer even simple questions in English. It was a real source of frustration for him.
The experience of encountering a communication barrier, even when dealing with seemingly basic language, can be incredibly frustrating, particularly in professional settings where the expectation of effective communication is high. Tariq's struggle to confidently and accurately respond to simple English questions is a relatable experience for many language learners, often accompanied by feelings of self-consciousness and inadequacy.
And there's this one interaction with a customer who wanted to open a new account. Tariq really struggled to explain the process in English. It was embarrassing for him, and it probably wasn't a great experience for the customer either. But instead of letting that experience get him down, Tariq decided to take action.
It's a testament to his resilience and proactive approach to self-improvement, isn't it? Instead of allowing the negative experience to discourage him, Tariq chose to view it as a catalyst for growth, a clear signal that he needed to enhance his English communication skills in order to excel in his role and better serve his clients.
So he started doing this cool thing. He'd write out these little dialogues based on common situations he encountered at work. And then he'd practice saying them out loud. He also started listening to English podcasts to improve his listening comprehension. Basically, he created his own little English immersion program, tailored to his specific needs.